Today we are going to see change the degree. So how many degrees are there?
There are 3 degrees.
What are they?
Comparative, positive and superlative.
Okay. And in what do we express degrees? So degrees are always expressed in adjectives. Okay. Whenever you want to express something, it is expressed in degree. If you see something beautiful and if you want to express about it or tell it, you see something else more beautiful and most beautiful. So degree is always, adjective always has degrees. Okay. So let us see, there are 3 degrees. First is positive, then second is comparative, and third form is superlative. Okay. So if I say this is a box, okay, this box is small, then in comparative I can say this box is smaller and this is smallest of all. So when we are going to change the degree, what you are supposed to do is, without changing the meaning of the sentence, you are supposed to change the degree of a sentence. So there are 3 ways in which, or there are 3 rules for which we have changed the degree. So we will first see the, okay. Second thing is that you have to keep in mind, when we are using the positive degree, it is like you have to use the box is small. We can express it in this way, or we can say this box is as small as that one. Fine. So now here with the positive degree, what are we using? As. Many a times in the fill in the blanks you have this question where students generally get confused. Then for comparative degree, what you have to keep in mind, this box is smaller than that box or that one. So what are you supposed to use with comparative? Than. You have to use smaller than. And the third form is superlative. This is the smallest box. So we have used the with the superlative form. So keep this in mind. As small as, smaller than, and the smallest. So with the positive, superlative degree, always you are supposed to use the form the. Is this clear to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we are changing from positive, most of the time we use ER and then EST form. For changing into positive to comparative, we use ER and EST. But there are some words or some adjectives which don't take ER and EST form. What are those?
Good.
So there are some forms where we don't add ER and EST, and that is, it is good. Good will, the positive will change into comparative as good, better,
Best.
and best. Also if I say useful, here useful is going to take more as its degree. More useful and
Beautiful.
most useful. Yes, even beautiful will take the same thing. Or crowded. So this is the crowded place. This is more crowded and most crowded. So you have to keep in mind that every adjective is not going to be changed by adding ER or EST. Some they have different forms. Got it? Okay. Now let us see how to change from one degree to another and how to go and for change the degree sentences, that is transformation of sentences for changing into from one degree to another. So let us see the first rule. What is the first rule? Number 1, how I explain is, the rule number 1 is, in this we have 1:1 comparison. What do you mean by 1:1 comparison? So in rule number 1, we talk about two things, two objects, okay? Anything two, that is one comparison with another. It can be two girls, we can talk about two cities. So in the rule number 1, you are supposed to keep in mind that you are going to have two things, that is comparison between 1:1. I tell my students, or I tell them to keep in mind rule 1 as 1:1. 1:1 means what? Comparison between two things, two objects, two people, two cities, two flowers, anything. Okay. Then majority of the students, they make mistake while changing this from this degree to another. In this form, in the rule 1, you are not supposed to use the superlative degree. Okay. So maximum times what happens, students, they get confused and they change anything into any degree into any form. So that is not allowed. You have to keep the rule in mind. So what is the rule? So only in rule number 1, you are going to see that there is going to be change from comparative to positive and positive to comparative. Let us go. How should we keep, or how we are going to keep it in mind? Let us see. Now I take a sentence. Mango is sweeter than apple. Okay, so what two things are compared here? These are fruits. So we are talking about. So first, how you will go step by step. See, how many things are here? Two. Okay, that is 1:1. Mango is compared with apple. Now second, which degree is this? Sweeter means?
Comparative.
So it is, the degree is comparative. Correct. Okay. Is the sentence positive or negative?
Positive.
Why it is positive sentence?
No negative words are used.
Exactly, because there are no negative words. So therefore this is a positive sentence. So we saw three things. First, what you are supposed to see, how many, whether it is rule number. If it is rule number 1, only two things are compared. So first is two things are compared here. That is two fruits are compared. Second, the degree is comparative. And third thing is, the sentence is positive. Why? Because it does not have any negative word. Now while changing, what you are going to do is, when you want to change the degree without changing the meaning. What does this mean? Mango is sweeter than apple. What is the meaning of this sentence? Mango sweetness is more than apple. Isn't it? So while changing, you have to take apple in the beginning. Okay. Now in this rule number 1, if the degree is comparative, the answer will be in positive. And if the degree is positive, the answer will be comparative. Vice versa. In rule number 1, no superlative degree is used while transforming the sentence. Keep that in mind. So we will begin like this. The answer will be apple is, when the sentence is positive, answer will be negative. So what will be the answer? Apple is
Not as
Not
sweet as mango.
as sweet as mango. So we have changed the degree, but we have not changed the meaning. Meaning remains the same. Clear? Since the sentence was in comparative degree, we have changed it into positive degree. So this is rule number 1. In rule number 1, positive changes into comparative and comparative changes into positive. That's all. Okay. Let us take one more example. Rose is not as big as lotus. Now here what have we seen? Here which degree was there?
Comparative.
Now here?
Positive.
Correct. The degree is positive. How is the sentence? So is there is comparison between two flowers. So 1:1. So rule number 1. Now second thing.
Negative sentence.
The degree is
Positive.
positive degree and the sentence is
Negative.
negative sentence. So when the degree is positive, it will change into
Comparative.
comparative. And when the sentence is negative, it will become
Positive.
correct. So how it will go? Lotus
Is bigger than rose.
is bigger
Than rose.
than rose. Is that clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay? Have you understood?
Yes.
When the sentence is in positive degree, you have to change it into comparative. If it is in comparative, you have to change it into
Negative.
positive. If the sentence is positive, it will become negative. And if the sentence is negative, it will become positive. This applies to rule number 1. Okay? And what did we say rule number is? 1:1. Comparison between two things only. Now let us see rule number 2. So in rule number 2, we are going to use all the 3 degrees. There will be interchange of positive to superlative, superlative to comparative and comparative to positive. In rule number 2 and 3, we have these changes. So rule number 2, let us see. Girish is the tallest boy in the class. Okay. Now which is this degree?
Superlative.
Superlative. So when the degree is superlative, now what is rule number 2? I'll explain you. Rule number 2, I have named it as 1:all. 1:all means what?
Comparison between one place and
There is one person and then is compared with everyone or many. Okay. So 1:all. So if Girish is 6 feet, others are all 5 feet. So there is a very big gap, or the comparison is going to be one is on one side and all others are on the other side. So this is called as 1:all comparison. For your understanding, I have given this name 1:all. So in this, how we will go? The tallest boy means what? That there is nobody as tall as Girish in the class. So this sentence, whenever the tallest we have to begin no other. No other, Girish is a boy. So no other boy in the class is as tall as Girish. This is which degree? As tall as means
positive.
positive. And how will we go for comparative? So begin with Girish only. Girish is taller
Than otherwise.
taller than any other boy. Any other boy in the class. Got it? So this is comparative degree. What did we use here? Any. Okay, and here what have we used? No other. This is for rule number 2. Now immediately I'll explain you rule number 3, which will make your idea clear. Now in rule number 3, there is comparison. 1:few. So there are few students in the class who are as tall as Girish. Okay, so let us see. Girish is one of the tallest boys in the class. Okay, so how will you go here? One of them is, some boys are there who are as tall as Girish. There are few boys, so therefore I have called this 1:few. So how will you go here? Because he was the ultimate tallest boy in the class, we went no other. Here we will go very few boys in the class are as tall as Girish, which is positive degree. and Girish is taller than most of the boys in the class. So this is comparative degree.